What is up, everybody? It is Crux here with Crux of Crypto, and today I'm not feeling very good. As you can see, I whipped out the red lights. Um, yeah, so I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are bullish, but I mean, it is crypto. It's very volatile. People start freaking out, and man, the 4-year cycle, it's had me kind of second guessing. Like, should I continue to hodl my bags? But I don't know. If I got you, we're going green. Smash the like, share this with somebody else, and the current states are green. I'm super excited. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. We just saw gold collapse. Yes, it dropped 6% intraday. It has not done that since 2013, and we're going to make sure we get into there because the details are very important. Where does the next leg of liquidity come from? Is it gold? Is it all of these stable coins, almost $200 billion worth of stable coins sitting there ready to enter all of these different digital assets that we have? So we know about tokenization. We know that the use cases are growing. And today there's a lot going on in the government. So we got governments adopting. We have treasuries. We have NASDAQ listed companies buying. And as you can see, I am green today. So, and you can also see I'm rocking the Suey swag. And we'll talk about our merch shop a little bit later, but I'm a big fan of Suey. I think right now is a good time to accumulate these altcoins. And dang, the chat is blowing up. I got a lot of people in here that are super excited about today's stream, and I appreciate it. Thank you guys for all showing up. It means a lot. I am a new content creator. I'm trying to change the way that the world views crypto. I'm not here to make a quick buck. And I have a lot coming out very soon. So smash that like, hit subscribe, and let's go ahead and jump into the current state of the markets. All right. $3.87 trillion rather. I'm not going to short us right there. $3.87 trillion. We have a lot of cryptocurrencies that have not been popping off for a while, so it's good to see. So let's go ahead and jump into the trending cryptos. As an analyst, I always break these down Tuesday, Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. And that's how we stay on top of what the best plays in crypto are. So Open Campus is not one of the best plays in crypto. It's trending. It's up 7%, well, 29% in the last 7 days. But this is a very bearish looking chart. It's BNB ecosystem. It's a use case that I don't think should exist in crypto. And I would definitely stay away from it. I've covered it multiple times. And that's project number one. Moving on, we got some Zcash. I'm sure a lot of you guys may be jumping onto this new wave of privacy tokens. I am not sold on them yet. I don't think it's a bad concept, but when we look about technology, Zcash isn't like some new revolutionary technology. All it is a fork of Bitcoin. It kind of took Bitcoin Cash's route, which is increasing the block size, but then it also adds a little security function, and then now they try to rebrand it as like the new meta of crypto. So I'm not completely sold on Zcash yet, but this thing is pumped 16% in the last 7 days, and if we look about the past month, this thing is absolutely crushing it. Now we have a cryptocurrency that's been in 3 different bull markets. So I mean, there's potential there. I'm just not completely sold on it. And I think this is just a feature that you can add to your layer 1 blockchain just to make it more secure. So the features that are integrated into the infrastructure of Zcash isn't exclusive to that network. So that's what we do in crypto. We take what's good from one and we evolve and put into the next, and then the next. And then eventually you have something like Caspa that's completely revolutionizing digital assets as we see them. So jump back into the next trending crypto. We have some Akash. All right, so it's been a little bit since I looked into this one. This play is not doing good overall. The reason it did very well leading into last year's AI hype was because so Aether is in I think its first bull market. IONET dropped like a little while ago, but anyways, Akash was a first mover advantage. It was out before a lot of the big players. But whenever you start actually like looking into these networks, so let's go ahead and jump into how much GPUs they have on hand, and we start to see it's not that much. So I want to say it's somewhere in like the 500s. I'm not sure where I saw it, but yeah, they have about like 500 CGPU availability right here. Look. So 50% of them are available. And then up there at the top right, you see, or top left for you, total GPUs 514. So whenever we compare that to like a network, let's just quickly look at Aether. ATH is the ticker, and this is how, as an analyst, you analyze these different plays. Is you compare how many are used globally. What are the rates? Whenever we're comparing GPU sharing platforms, we need to know what's competitive, and this is the meta of crypto. You're looking at 435,000 different GPUs that are on demand, and if I was to look in real time, I think you can check it out. GPU dashboard. Let's go. And if you look at it like in real time, networks like Aether are just second to none. So as you can see, let's see how many, 437,000 right now, total GPUs. So I just told you Akash is trending at 550 available GPUs. And then I just showed you Aether has 437,000. And it's that's how you compare, as an analyst, GPU sharing platforms. All right, let's move on. And that being said, I would not, I actually hold Akash. I've held it for like 2 years at this point. I'm not going to accumulate it anymore, I'll tell you that. All right, Chain Opera, that's the next play. This is a BNB ecosystem play. The cool thing about this is it's recently found its support at about $5, and it has pumped a little bit since, so it's at $8. This is a very volatile chart. I think it's okay to start accumulating if you believe in the BNB ecosystem and you want a little AI exposure. Don't put over 10% of your portfolio in AI. I don't think it's really proven itself, but if we look at all of these different trending cryptos today, you got BitTensor, you have D Agent AI, you have Akash, Chain Opera, and there were some other ones, but anyways, you have a lot of trending cryptocurrencies that are AI projects. So I don't think AI is dead and gone, but I don't think it's worth having 15% or more. So that's not a bad play to add to your bags at these prices. Pudgy Penguins, I think that's okay. Bitcoin, it's clearly trending because of the price action as of late, but we're starting to retrace a little bit. We went as high as 114,000 today, and I'm about to get into why I think we have retraced since. So there's a player in the space, everybody knows his name, but I think he's the reason why. All right, next up we got some Aster. This one is trending because I just dropped a video on it. So if you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? I dropped it on Monday. So I dropped it yesterday, and unfortunately I used it as a redirect from Tim's live stream. So what happened is it threw like 100 people like 5 minutes into the 7-minute long video, and then now YouTube registers that as people didn't stay to watch it because they only stayed for 2 minutes. So then at that point it doesn't get pushed out, and that's why the views aren't very high. So I got shafted by YouTube, and if you've been shafted by YouTube, smash that like, hit subscribe, and make sure you don't miss the next one. All right, we got Avantis. AVNT is the ticker. This one is a perp-dex play built on the base network. I actually am pretty down on my bags. I last bought this one at 80 cents. So that's my DCA, well, my average cost is 80 cents for Avantis. So I'm not down too bad. 65 cents is the current price. We've had a good pump as of late. And whenever I was doing my Aster versus Hyperliquid video, I was definitely looking at some of these other perp dexes like Avantis, like Apex, and there's some very good asymmetric risks out there. So some of these networks are doing hundreds of millions of trading volume per day. So Avantis, I like to see it. A lot of the base OGs have actually specifically talked about this play. So if you don't have any like perp dex exposure, Avantis is a solid play. It's just riskier than Aster. And I think Aster is really just the best one at this point. But we're finally starting to see a little recovery here. Hopefully I'll get a return on my bags. All right, moving on, we got some Hyperliquid. This one also is trending because Crux dropped a video. So I appreciate all the support everyone in the crypto space has given me. I'm just kidding, by the way. I'm very bullish on Hype. I own some. Pax G is tokenized gold, so that one's clearly trending because gold is getting smoked today by the markets. We can see it's down 6% in the past 24 hours, 0.3% in the past 1 hour. So think about this, guys. 0.3% gold is down. 0.3% and you're talking about a $30 trillion asset. Just the move today, the 6% drawdown of that 30 of that, I think it was at 31 or 32 trillion, and then it dropped 6%. That by itself is almost as much as Bitcoin's entire existence, and it happened in the matter of hours. So that's how early we are. Don't FUD out of your bags. We're super, super, super early. Governments are just starting to adopt it. We haven't even really seen the entire playbook of what they plan on doing, but I do think it's okay to have some exposure to gold, real estate, all these other commodities. Diversification, guys. That's what we preach here. De-agent AI, it's another AI play. I'm not going to get too much into this one because I don't buy 150% sends in single days. But if it remains on this trending and I see it again on Thursday, I'll cover it with you guys. So that's definitely something as an analyst I like to look at. Again, every day I'm looking at what's trending. And if something's trending for at least a couple days, I'll give you the time. So right now it could just be trending because of this pump. So I don't want you guys to FOMO into that. Zora, this is a project I covered about 2 months ago in my base ecosystem video. It's a pretty cool play. Not many charts in crypto look like this. So I think this is a little manipulated. I'm not going to lie. I don't like to use the M word, but a 500 mil market cap project not very long ago was definitely sub, I want to say a sub 100 mil whenever we covered it. Yeah, we covered it way back here. Yeah, it was like 60 mil market cap when we made that video, by the way. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, you should be. So Zora, even though I don't use the network, it's kind of what Coinbase is really trying to push down people's throat. It's like a new social platform where creators like myself can monetize. I'm okay with YouTube. YouTube hasn't beat me up enough for me to FOMO out, or just to leave the network. But Zora, it looks somewhat promising. I'm not going to jump into that at a 500 mil market cap. There's a whole bunch of base projects that are sitting like around 100 mil and even sub 100 mil that have, like I just showed you, Avantis. There is Mamo. There's a lot of base ecosystem projects that are much lower market cap that have the potential. All right, and let's go ahead and wrap this trending up. We could jump into a brief section of Q&A and then jump into the news. So we got BitTensor. This is my favorite AI play. I don't know what else to say. You've seen my Render versus Tau video. If you haven't yet, make sure you do it because you'll learn a ton. I learned a ton making that video. And it's all about the subnets. So AI's big. The only niche that I don't think we're ready for in crypto yet would be the robotics. I do think the LLMs are ready. I think the AI agents are ready. And I think the GPU platforms are ready. And the subnets with Tau allows you to get exposure to everything. So with subnets, what happens is you collect all this Tau, you create these internalized ecosystems within this massive ecosystem, and then you can pay people to mine. And then mining's a little different. Mining's actually adding to the ecosystem as opposed to what we know as like using hardware in mining. So it's pretty cool. Like if somebody asks you, if you're a trader, here's an example. If you're a trader and somebody's back testing all your trade calls and you're doing a very good job, you are the miner because you're collecting the data. The validator is proofing you and saying, okay, this guy's good, right? And then the subnet owner is paying off the validator who pays off the miner. So it's a very efficient ecosystem and it rewards good data. So that's where we're going. Decentralized good data. Here we are, crypto. Sui, you see this hat, you see the shirt. We rocking Sui today. And then Tether Gold, that's also trending because gold is getting smoked. All right. So that was very long-winded. That was 15 minutes. Overall state, I'm very bullish today, and I'm hoping that we go up and right. There's a poll right now going on that is Bitcoin started off the month at, I think, 114.5. Are we going to end green or red? And my take is green. I'm a perma bull inside of a bull market. So I'm not a trader. You guys know I'm not going to go and throw some cool 5x longs in and stuff like that. I get my risk from altcoins. So instead of leverage trading Bitcoin, I throw much of my capital into cryptocurrencies, altcoins. And that's my way to leverage. So, and a lot of these A lot of the altcoins are somewhat correlated to Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is absolutely crushed at this cycle. And I did not see that coming. Not the way that it did, actually. So I think I saw the price action of Bitcoin individually. I thought the altcoins would have held up much better. So Bitcoin dominance did not do as well going into Q4 of this year, but the cycle could not be over, or maybe the cycles are dead. So let me know your thoughts on the 4-year cycle in the comments. And then let's go ahead and read a couple questions. And then we'll jump into a little bit of news. CeeLo, what up, brother? Says, sup, Crux. T.I., smash that like. Sup, yeah, Carlton, he was the first today. A lot of times it's MD, but today it was Carlton. What up, Crux? Is Derek? All mods. Yeah, so we got a lot of mods. I'm making sure my chat is taken care of and you guys are the best. So what up, Dean? We got F9. I don't know if I've seen you before. That backlight lit sick. Yeah, appreciate it. So I got, this is the newest edition right here, is this light. And what I do if you're new here is, depending on how bullish I am, I add more green. And depending on how bearish I am, I'll add a little red. So you can see a little red in there, just a little bit. We'll let him have his day. But overall, I'm very bullish. And yeah, so let's see. Michael says, I've been buying KETA for weeks now. My bags are up. I'm still a little down on my KETA. I'm not going to lie. My first buy was like 40 cents. So I was up on my first buy. I doubled down at $1. I think it was $1 or 90 cents. So I brought my dollar cost average up, and I'm holding at a little bit of a loss, at least. Not very bad. But I'll talk about KETA. I think there's a lot of room to grow to the upside, and that is happening in the next 24 hours. So we will see. All right, H. Bardano, the Fed meeting today made me mega ultra. Okay, you use mega and ultra in the same sentence. On H bar in the long run. Yeah, so H bar is super tied in with the Fed. I'm surprised it didn't get announced up there with the ADA, Solana, XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum Treasury Reserve assets, and it's probably going to be one of the ones that get listed next. They're very in. They're in there like swimwear. Let's just say that. Happy for you, brother. Thank you, CeeLo. Daniel, super happy on KETA as well. I got a lot of. I might be one of the biggest KETA fanatics. I don't know. Maybe I am. So I mean, my channel could be bigger. Hint, hint. Y'all could be subscribing, but KETA is an ecosystem that I thoroughly like. And again, I get paid by none of these, so these are my thoughts internally. Let's go, Aster. Yeah, Aster and Avantis. All right, we got a couple hype. Yes, some people hype about the perp dexes in here. That's a lot of money, says Carl. All right, we'll read 2 more and we'll move on. All right, Jagger. Lightning to Fed meeting today. We are very early to this game. Oh, listening to the Fed meeting today. We are very early to this game. A lot needs to happen. Integration to the banks. And don't worry, nobody better than Crux of Crypto to break it all down for you. Robotics are coming, says Carl. And I agree with you. I just think robotics is the next bull run. It's just, it requires the physical infrastructure and these types of things. Right now, large language models is just data. You're just training this system to retrain itself, and it learns over time. So with robotics, you're like actually having to use metals and use this, use that, use hardware. And it's pretty complicated. So I'm going to give it a little more time. And that's why you see ChatGPT blew up the past, 3 years? And we don't have robots walking around our house, mowing our lawns yet. That's going to happen soon, but robotics always going to take a little longer. All right, that's a little long-winded. Let's go ahead and jump over into the news. Finally, the Federal Reserve is studying a new payment account model that could give fintech and crypto firms limited access, keyword, limited access to Fed payment rails without full banking privileges. So that's a lot. That's like kind of a word salad. Maybe a little difficult to understand this, but I think if we just look at what is the itinerary of the day, let me see if I can bolster that bad boy. All right, Tuesday, November 21st, today. So it started as early as, I think this is Eastern Standard. They had their breakfast, blah, 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 blah. They have a lot of big players. As you can see, Sergey Nazarov, he is a co-founder of Chainlink. You have Fireblocks there. You have Global Head of Treasury Services, which BNY Mellon is one of the biggest banks globally. I don't know why they haven't breaks. They need to be in there 24/7 talking about crypto because we need this stuff passed. We need laws, regulation. There's so much. I don't know what they're doing with these breaks. We got stablecoin use cases and business models. That's extremely important. I'll talk a little bit about stablecoins here and why I think the US dollar is evolving and turning from inflationary into deflationary. So definitely stay a little bit later to hear my pitch on that. And anyway, so this is a lot of the big wigs. We have Paxos. I just talked about PaxG. We have a Circle. There you go. The creators of USDC, the second largest stablecoin. Again, they go on another break over there at lunch. ARK Invest. What up, Kathy Woods? Yeah, Tesla made her big back in 2020 for those that didn't know. Coinbase. We got Stripe. We got basically the people that are running the world, at least running some of the biggest private companies in the world today, including BlackRock. Look at that. We got some Kinesis. I think it's Connexus, actually. JP Morgan. And then Franklin Templeton. Franklin Templeton is I want to say like a top 15 asset under manager. They're probably sitting at over 100. Well, no, Van Eck is about 100 billion. Franklin Templeton is probably sitting at, actually, I'm not sure. I know they're above though. They're way up there. All right. So anyways, long story short, we have some big players on both the traditional finance side, the crypto side, and then also the regulatory side. So all of this is merging, and I'm here to see it. So Paul Barron, our good friend over there, he is here to break it down with us. The Fed just changed the game for crypto payments. Government Waller's new skinny master account. Make sure you understand those words, skinny master account, because that's in quotes. The banks are trying to manipulate this phrase, skinny. It makes it sound like, oh, we'll just go ahead and allow the crypto players to be here. You know, why not? They should be called massive master accounts. And here's what the framework is. Stablecoin issuers can access Fed rails directly. Crypto payment companies cut out the bank intermediaries. Faster settlement, lower cost, which really is crypto in a nutshell, and then the legitimacy. Fed actively supporting crypto adoption. Companies like Ripple, Circle, Anchorage have been fighting this for years. So we're finally starting to see the writing on the wall. These crypto companies are starting to embed themselves into the federal system that we've created, and I'm loving to see it. But we just talked about Ripple. We talked about Circle. We talked about Anchorage. These are all companies that are allowing this. But then we also got Kita. So if you own some Kita, put ones in chat. I've covered this 3 times, 3 different videos. I got the base Kita video, I got the mainnet launch, and then I got the roadmap. So if this is your first time hearing about Kita, here's the quick pitch. Think of it as like XRP. It is connecting. Well, okay, so XRP is a little different. XRP is more or less trying to get all these partnerships with the major banks. Yes, Kita does have partnership with banks, but it's mainly focused on allowing their stablecoin KUSD or AUSD, which is their partnered stablecoin, being used via a card, which is probably going to be Visa, directly taken from your digital ledger. So we're skipping the banks. Y'all see how I'm moving my hands? The banks right here. We are skipping the banks with this product. And this is what crypto was made to do. If we go look at Satoshi's original mission, it was to get rid of the banks. It evolved out of the 2008 housing collapse. Whenever the banks exposed a lot of people in real estate, the market really collapsed. And we saw who was too leveraged in the system. So it's finally starting to see people are starting to get their power. And if the banks don't play ball, they are going to lose power to the people and the private companies like Coinbase, etc. So let's move on to a couple more stories and we'll jump back into the Q&A. We got this guy here. He's happy. Donald Trump, President Trump's crypto czar, which is David Sachs, the guy standing to the left of him, is reportedly scheduled to meet with legislators tomorrow to help advance crypto market structure bill. So it didn't end today. We got some more stuff coming. And I know, all right. So Donald Trump, he's smiling in this picture. You can kind of see his thumb up a little bit. He's super happy. But this guy, he's smart. He and his family own He's probably in the top 5 richest crypto families globally. So Barron Trump, richest 19-year-old in the world, worth over 150 mil. Melania Trump, go look at the Melania token. Go look at Trump token. Go look at WLFI. Go look at the Bitcoin holding. This guy, he is all over crypto, and always do what they do. Do not do what they say. So this guy, Donald Trump, earlier today, he said maybe the Z meeting won't happen. And this is when Bitcoin was at $114,000 earlier today. So to me, I see gold crashing. I see risk on assets pumping. How do I stop it? I manipulate the market. And if you go and look at what time he said this, you'll see when the top of the market was in today. And I scream on Twitter, because I always call this stuff out, manipulation. Yes, he said it today. We rallied to 114K. Guess who stopped it? Watch what they do, not what they say. So that's the moral of this story, is just because he may have manipulated the market, sometimes they want to buy back at lower prices. So don't go and sell. These are usually better accumulation periods, but you don't want the markets to rally up too quickly, or it destabilizes because there's not enough time to cool off the charts. All right. Yeah, we got 2 more. So we got... Here's a quick little history lesson. So in April 2013, Bitcoin was $130. Then it went to rally to 1,150, which was really the 2013 cycle peak that happened at Q4. And that was the last time this happened. So gold fell 6% today, which it's never fallen 6% intraday since 2013. And we had that massive rally after. So we're starting to see the 4-year cycle starting to crack a little bit. Well, I mean, there's tons of cracks. And if you really want to learn more about the 4-year cycle, I'll have a video coming out on Friday about it. So I'm going to cover it in depth. It's going to be my longest video that I've ever done, because it's the most important topic that I can ever do in crypto, is in Q4, the year after Bitcoin's halving, going in depth and figuring out where are we at in this cycle, and are we bound to repeat the 70% plus pullback going into bear winter. So that video, I'm telling you, very important. I might even boost it. I might try to get YouTube to push it out to more views, because that's super critical for understanding crypto as a whole, is what the 4-year cycle is. And then one more gold story is more than $1.8 trillion have been wiped out by gold. That is almost 80% of Bitcoin's market cap. So that's how early we are. This is a feel-good story, and I want to feel a little bit better. So I'm going to ask you guys, well, I'm going to read some of your questions and answer them. All right, Kita only needs a couple billion market cap to hit $2, not even. I'd have to do the math for exact numbers, says Michael. Yeah, I mean, Kita is super low, in my opinion, for its potential. Nice Sui hat shirt combo, says Justa, for sure. If you weren't here for the very intro of this live stream, I started off, the room was red. The room was red. My PC, the lights were all red. And then I told you guys I was selling. I wanted to scare you and see what you guys were going to say. And then I flipped it up on you. So these are my actual colors of the day. And I whipped out the shirt too, because I had to make sure you knew I'm on Team Sui. All right. I sold my Kita on this upside for XPL. I think XPL is a safer play and still at a discount. Yeah, well, XPL is definitely a safer play. I mean, the market cap is, what, 6 times higher? I mean, XPL is sitting at multiple billions. It might be under 2 billion at this point, but that is I mean, it's a newer project. It's a whole different use case. I mean, you're looking at stablecoin adoption. They have a ton of TVL, if you count their $2 billion worth of USDT on hand. I think XPL is fine. It is. It's just a way less risky play. It's not cool. It's not fancy. They're not doing anything like super creative over there. They're just reinventing the wheel, but the wheel works. So I'm not going to tell you to sell your XPL. I'm not going to swap my Kita for XPL. I'll tell you that. All right. Read a couple more. Thoughts on Avantis, says Ricky. I talked a little bit about Avantis earlier. I think it's a solid play. I always look at what Jesse and what Brian Armstrong are talking about when any base project launches, and I wait for them to put their name on them. And in terms of perp dexes, that's the one that I've seen the most attention around is Avantis. So within these networks, the perp dex wars are here. You have Aster, which really woke everything. Well, all right, so here we go. 10 months ago, actually 11 months ago at this point, Hyperliquid launches this token. It is institutionally backed, tons of money. People get rich very quick. This is a project that broke into the top 15, almost the top 10. It surpassed Chainlink, if I'm not mistaken. At one point, it pulled back. But anyways, long story short, this thing was absolutely crushing it all bull market. Aster finally launches about 35 days ago. The token's crushing it. Binance token, or the Binance ecosystem, has been absolutely crushing it since the past 2 months. So Binance is back on the scene. People are like, why is this thing at all-time high? My projects are crashing. Aster launches. Aster starts taking the TVL, takes the volume, it takes the revenue, the trading fees, and then Hyperliquid is like, what is going on? And then yeah, okay, so yeah, so we're starting to see all these perp dexes pop up. Avantis dropped after Aster, if I'm not mistaken, but they're around the same time, and it's like the wars. It's like, which side are you going with? The best way to really gauge any of these ones, check out my video Aster versus Hyperliquid, and I go through like 10 different items, whether it's TVL, fee revenue, or interoperability, or even availability. There's a lot of different metrics to compare these things with, but Avantis, it's up there in like a top 15 slot. And the gem hunters, I'll give you guys this free one. With the gem hunters, I think like a week ago, I talked about Apex. So Apex had this massive pull down. Let's quickly look at it. Apex, and I have no exposure to this one, but I think if it drops a little bit lower, I think it's time. Like back at $1 would be super cool. But so this chart, very bullish overall. Been through, I think this is its first cycle, right? Yeah. I mean, 2022. So it was great in the bear market. And it's doing very well overall. But this thing is, I think it's like a top 5 perp dex in terms of all of those metrics. And it's sitting at 150 mil market cap. These are good asymmetric risk, guys. So if you don't have any perp decks, maybe 5% of a portfolio combined between the Asters and the Hyperliquids and the Apexes and the Avantises is not a bad idea. All right, and with that said, let's go ahead and jump into, I just talked about the merch, so I'm going to briefly go through the merch store. This is a new product that we created, myself, Tim Shrum. I was wearing this shirt the other day. It says, I don't have any money left. And then on the back, it says, because I just bought the dip. And that's what Crux has been doing it. This whole cycle, I've been buying these dips. And I was also wearing that hat on the last live stream, which says just hodl it. So if you guys want some merch, check it down there. Each of these items have those retro investing bros hands on it. So, I kind of miss the days with the bros, BROZ. If you've been around for a couple months, you would know Investing Bros was the move, and then we rebranded to Tim Warren and Crux of crypto. But I mean, our platforms are starting to get much, much bigger. Our voices are starting to get heard, and that's the story. I'm here to get as many voices to listen as possible, and it's only possible through the support of you guys. So appreciate it. All right, let's move on to this story. So we know about the manipulator. I actually created a video on YouTube, and I talked about what happened on October 9th, leading up into October 10th of last week. Was that last? No, that was 2 weeks ago. Sorry. I sent you guys through PTSD on that one. My bad. All right, so this whale, $10 billion hyper unit, that's what they're calling this guy, the hyper unit whale. You know he's serious, is shorting Bitcoin. He's back to shorting, and he might have caught the top, honestly, because this was at 1239. That's around the time Trump talked about maybe not talking to GGP. Man, you can't write this up. You cannot. This guy is undefeated. Go look at all his trades, 0 losses. We're talking $192 million in a 24-hour period. This guy is insane, and he reopened his short, and he's absolutely crushing it. So we need to get it up to 123K to liquidate this guy, but I mean, we'll see. And all right, Christine Lagarde, if you haven't known, she runs one of the biggest banks, ECB. And if you're in crypto, you're not going to be a fan of her. Now, she's taken a different route than the United States is. She's taken more or less the China route. So she is focusing more on something like gold as opposed to Bitcoin. But she just said the ECB will not allow Bitcoin in their reserves, right? And I think I jumped in the comments on this one. Right. Okay. So in this video, she talks about she talked to one of her colleagues and he knows the best. I said, I am confident. Well, this is what she said, quote unquote. I am confident I had a general conversation with one of my colleagues. So that's all she said. And we're talking about a world reserve currency here. We are talking about a global shift in the monetary system. And she goes on stage talking about she had a conversation with one of her colleagues that said Bitcoin isn't good. To me, that is horse crap. And then I go about, how about you look at what the United States and China are doing? You got the two most powerful nations that are accumulating gold and Bitcoin, and you're talking to a colleague. How dumb are you? They are clearly ahead for a reason. Do not get left behind. So, hey, ECB, if you're hiring for a new president, you know, in the description, I got my contact information. So we need to replace her. Somebody needs to replace her that has a couple IQ points. And we'll move on to the next story. This is kind of not a lot of people are talking about this, but I think like the general state of where the world is shifting and stablecoins and crypto, and this is how it plays out. So private companies like Coinbase, they create these stablecoins and they back them with cash, real world assets, treasuries. Simple, right? Inflationary fiat, excuse me, inflationary fiat, such as the US dollars, it evolves into deflationary stablecoins. And as the users are migrating. So this is already happening. Step number 2 is already happening. Stablecoins were created in step 1. Users are migrating to these stablecoins in 2. 3, old fiat becomes deflationary. So instead of inflationary, we know about inflation, 2 to 3% of the value of the dollar dies every single year. But stablecoins are going up 5 to 7% because they're backed by, things that are actually going up in value. And you could borrow and lend against them so you can get yield. Next up, we got stablecoins become the new medium of exchange, distributing power from the banks to private companies and people. So this is kind of where everything starts to shift. Some banks are playing along. Most institutions are playing along. Vanguard still has not yet to get their feet wet in the crypto markets, but State Street has, BlackRock has, Fidelity has, and really the 5 next biggest asset under manager companies in the world. So we have some people that are still being laggards. If you're going to lag, you're going to lose. So, and then step number 5, banks choose to die with the dollar, or they evolve into the digital era. That's the only option. You have to evolve. And this is coming off the stem of our good friend over there, Eleanor Tourette, who said, well, this is kind of going off the skinny master account conversation we talked about earlier with the banks being able to issue skinny master accounts to crypto company. It's like they're trying to belittle crypto companies, but that is your safe haven. Without these crypto companies, you are screwed. So that's Crux's take on this whole situation. All right, let's jump back into Q&A. I knocked out the news way faster than I typically do. I think I have like 2 more things, but I want to make sure I get your guys' input first. All right, so Brian says, Crux, in order, what gives a better X this season? Aave, Link, Sui, Avax, Morpho, Arrow. All right, so Brian is asking what gives the best multiple. You have Aave, Link, Sui, Avax, Morpho, Arrow. So if the base ecosystem wakes up, which I think it is, and before the base token gets implemented, I think Morpho and Arrow are going to be the 2 big winners there. I don't think the base token's probably not going to launch until maybe Q3, Q4 next year. And that's me speculating. It could launch earlier. It could be much later. But there's a lot of time for Morpho and Arrow to really pick up before I think that token is overall going to be net negative for the base ecosystem. But when it launches, we could be at a whole different place. We could be at $10 trillion market cap for crypto. And that could happen in the next, 6 months. Who knows? So I'm going with Morpho Arrow as the biggest winners of those because they have the lowest market cap, but they're the highest risk. Now, moving on, we got Aave, Link, Sui, and AVAX we have to compare. Aave has the most TVL of any of those projects. And the most, yeah. So Aave, in my opinion, is going to be the next best up as a lower market cap than all those projects and the highest TVL of all those projects. So it's the number one app built in all of crypto. It's interoperable. It's one of the most interoperable plays in all of crypto, other than like maybe Chainlink. So I'm going Arrow 1, your number one DEX on Base. Morpho 2, your number one borrowing and lending platform on Base. Aave 3, your best DeFi platform in all of crypto. And then between Link, Sui, and AVAX, I'm going Sui. It has a lower market cap, and it's in its first bull market. Plus, I'm wearing the swag, so why not? So Sui, I'm going. That's a difficult one. All right, of all these, Chainlink versus AVAX is going to be the most difficult. I'm going with Chainlink, and because Chainlink it's constantly just getting either partnerships or upgrades or like its integrations, it's interoperable. It's absolutely crushing it right now. Avalanche just had the best September of all time of any cryptocurrency, I can tell you. Fundamentally, go look at what Avalanche did in September. Insane. You're talking about a 30% growth in TVL, or 30% growth in real world asset TVL. And a lot of other partnerships. I'm pretty sure they secured over $1 billion. They launched AVAT, which is like their NASDAQ listed treasury. So Avalanche unfortunately gets the bump on this one, but Link I'll add a little bit over it, and then Sui above that, Aave above that, Morpho above that, Arrow as the big winner. Thank you for that question, Brian. Hope that helps. Tony says insider trading will get you all of that money. Yeah, to just follow what Donald Trump is doing, because but unfortunately we don't know, because like the markets will pump and out of nowhere he's like, here's a tweet, have fun, and he just absolutely stifles it. It's so like it's clearly manipulation. All right, Trade Intuition, dropping the socials. Make sure you follow. Appreciate it. And Ti, I definitely need to get onto your show. I think Monday and Wednesday, Ti, with Coin Mindset. I think you're jumping on their channel. So definitely, if you guys haven't seen Ti, Trade Intuition's his name, check out his channel. Tony Rojas says, oh, everything just refreshed. Tony Rojas says, Kita got smacked by the 200 SMA on the 4-hour. So there's some technical jargon for you traders out there. If it looks green, I'm buying. If it looks red, I'm selling. 30 cents. I don't think we'll ever see 30-cent Kita again. I think we're going to be like testing that 50-cent area for a while, seeing how strong that support is. All right, Justice says, nice. I was finishing up listening to an X Space about Pith. Where you when you started? Yeah, Pith it's nice. We'll have to watch it back later. Hate that I missed it. Yeah, so Crux is better than Pith. I'll say it again. Crux is better than Pith. No, I'm just kidding. So Pith is the second best. Link is the best. I have some Pith. I guess that's one way to validate it. I'm holding some. I've been holding it for like a year and a half at this point. I think Chainlink is just absolutely crushed. It's so hard to beat that network because it's EVM compatible. So you could just really slap it into anything, and it provides valuable data, which is the most important thing you need for a blockchain. That's your price feeds. That is what is happening in real world and putting it on the blockchain. Very important. Michael says money flow on the market cipher looks good on Kita, medium time frames. All the way to the 16-hour looks very positive. Look for a continuation. All right, Michael. Yeah, appreciate it. Definitely share the alpha while you have it. I'm not a technicals guy. I'm not going to be able to tell you when to buy, but I can tell you what to buy. And I think that's very important. Take my information, listen to Tim, listen to people like TI, listen to people that understand the chart. Our VIP trading group, I'm telling you, I was up until like almost well past midnight last night. What happened, right? We got these brand new indicators, and I'm gonna do a quick plug. The brand new indicators that are there's four new ones. You have like your liquidity, you have a couple different things, but there are indicators. So for the first time, you're starting to see what we as traders like to see on a chart. So you have Tim steering the boat. We have very smart pro traders in there. We have Rufio, Steve, Silent. Shout out for y'all in the comments. And these guys are steering the boat on what we want to see in this community. So strongly encourage you guys to check out our membership. The very lowest tier, the essentials, gets you access to all of this stuff. And trading indicators such as like, well, I'm not going to name drop any of them, but $60 a month. It's very cheap compared to a lot of these other trading indicators. And then again, the essentials package is way bigger than just these indicators. So something to consider as we have our memberships down there. And thank you guys for supporting us. I think we're pushing probably like 350 watt members like total. It's been a while since, I mean, it's kind of my job. I'm supposed to track all this, but thank you guys for all your support, and we are doing our best to make you guys happy. All right, Ricky says, how high can Sui go this year? Maybe $8. Well, let's quickly look. Sui in 2025 is what Ricky is asking. Sui's currently sitting at about $2.50. Fairly close to its all-time high. This is a good chart, guys, especially after the beat down that we've had the past like month or so, leading the second half of September into the first half of October, quote unquote. Yeah, so higher lows. We're not yet at a lower low, and we did have a higher high, but now we have lower highs. So we're starting to converge a little bit. This breakout, if we do draw lines, it's going to take a while. Probably not going to happen for at least a couple weeks. But again, Bitcoin is pushing the markets, and I think this is one of the things that Bitcoin's either going to push it up or down. You know, it's not going to give this chart here time to play out. But I'll tell you, this thing is holding up well. I always look at how well has it recovered since April, and look, April it was as low as what, 7 bill market cap or lower, and it 2x to about 15 bill in the matter of like 2 months up in July, and then we've retraced a little bit. I think by the end of the year, let's give this like what, 2 months, you know, yeah, 2 months and like a week or so. So like nine to 10 weeks. Let's give it 9 to 10 weeks. Dependent, well, this is a good topic of conversation. If we don't go into a bear winter, knock on wood, we're not in a bear winter. Bitcoin continues to go up and right. Bitcoin goes to 140K. Let's say 140K Bitcoin, end of year, Christmas. We're all celebrating. We're having fun because that's what we do in crypto. I think a lot of these alts are going to absolutely crush it because people sold their alts expecting to either go into Bitcoin and ride through a bear winter or to buy the bear market bottom. So there's a lot of people that are currently sitting on the sidelines right now. And there's a ton of gold that could possibly be coming into crypto. Some of that 30 trillion market cap. Then there's a lot of stable coins, $200 billion worth of stable coins that can get integrated at a moment's notice into these altcoins. And we could see the most massive blow off top we've ever seen. And in my opinion, going into, again, December of the year after Bitcoin's halving, we have not done that. Look at these last 2 cycles on Bitcoin. We went into November of 2017. We went into November of 2021. We did not go into December. So if we're continuing, I don't know what I'm doing. If we're continuing momentum into that last month, I think it's going to be insanely bullish. As you can see, we peaked here November 7th, around there. And then here, yeah, so 20K Bitcoin, November 20. And then there's a blow off top, to be fair. Blow off top went into 2018. So alts did extremely well going into that second half. We could possibly see the same thing happen here to where Bitcoin may peak around, you know, December, maybe even going into Q1 next year, but then alts see an even bigger rally. That said, I would not be surprised to see a $10 SUI. Currently we're sitting at $2.50, a 4x. And that's just Bitcoin going from 130 to what I say 140 or no, 110, sorry, 110,000, which is, well, 111K where it's currently sitting at, and then going up to 140,000. I think Sui's going to have 4x at a minimum. So I hope that helps answer your question. Let's go ahead and look at some more questions for you guys. All right. Oh, Angel likes my shirt too. Appreciate it. We are rocking the Sui Hodl Gang today. Hi, Crux and friends, says Angel. Moonwell and Mamo, says DJ. Yep, I hold both. I like both. Mimone says, how high can Store J be this year? Please. So Store J, so data storage plays in general, I'm kind of refraining from. The only one that I think is worth buying is Walrus, which is WAL is the ticker for that one. But you're talking about Store J. And I hold, I don't hold any Filecoin, but I do hold, what's that one? It was like the second biggest one. It's been a minute. Anyways, somebody remind me in the comments. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like the second biggest data storage play. I don't hold Filecoin though. Okay, so Store J. Almost every data storage token looks very similar to this. And I'm not too sure maybe it's just innovation. Maybe it's everything is just stored on the cloud. And they have a different way on storing this stuff other than this. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. These charts are all very bearish. All of them look like this. All data storage plays. And I don't think they're gonna bounce. And that's why I don't tell people to buy any more data storage. Earlier this cycle, these things were absolutely crushing it. So having maybe 1% of your portfolio, 1% of your portfolio, it could be worth it. I just wouldn't have very much in there. Let's see. No, it's not AIOZ, Angel. Did you see the Fetch news? Ocean Protocol exited the alliance on Fetch. Yeah, I actually hold Fetch currently, and I'm not a fan of that at all. So Fetch is getting smoked. Fetch, for those that don't know, last year, AGIX, Ocean Protocol, and Fetch all combined to create ASI, which is the Artificial Super Intelligence Team. And they're supposed to be the bee's knees in crypto, right? What happened, realistically, is you have three visionaries who none of them took the charge or took the lead, that are just gonna, like, you have to have a visionary. You have to have someone up here, one person, an Elon Musk. Then you can have other people under him, and then you can have other people under them. These three guys tried to converge and figure something out. One guy exits. This is the guy from Ocean Protocol, which that token, they're trying to rebrand the old token into something. It's horrible. I don't know what they're doing over there. So now you got two of the better, in my opinion, the two of the better visionaries. You have Gertzel, whatever, from Fetch, or no, from AGIX, and then whoever Fetch's guy was, that are still running it. But then I listened to Gertzel on a live stream the day after, and this dude was talking about, Tau, like your biggest competitor, and you're talking about trying to make your tokenomics similar to Tau. And I'm like, there we go. All right, $4.10. But just like I showed you, JSTOR, the chart looked just like this. They look like cup and handles that did not play out. So they had a very good, like, early part of last year, going into like the December, and then going all the way back to like bear market lows. So 1% of your portfolio in the Arweaves or the Filecoins or the JSTORs or the different data storage plays, I don't think it's a bad idea. If one of them rallies, they're pretty much all going to rally. This is going to be a narrative pump. But also, buying something at bear market lows, I don't think is a bad idea. I just, again, would not ape a lot into it. And that's just my thoughts. All right. So, still have about 70 of you guys in here. You guys are loving it, and I appreciate it. Oh, it showed my chat disconnected. So maybe I went out for a little bit. I don't know. Akash, Angel, I talked about Akash earlier and why I would definitely encourage you to stay away from it. Pick up Aether instead. ATH is a ticker, not financial advice. Thank you, Crux. More info on Fetch. Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I break down stuff for you. Just bought deep in Walrus. You were excited, says Brian. I think you made a good decision because Walrus is bigger than just a data storage. So let's go back into charts. I just showed you multiple data storage charts. And let's just to clarify, Filecoin. It had the cup and handle pattern to this cycle, and then it broke down in December. Watch, it's going to be the same thing. Boom. Let me move that out the way. Yeah, this massive U, it does not retest and just goes down and right for like a year, or at least a while. So all data storage plays look like that. Walrus is considered a data storage play, but they're also considered a part of Sui's stack, which is responsible for quite a bit. Very responsible for it. Now, token's not exactly doing the best chart in crypto. Clearly, it has broken down, but at least it's consolidating. It's not doing miserable. So that's kind of what it's done. Trade sideways for a long time, and I think there's a lot of potential there. So that's your leverage position for Sui. So if you want a little more risk than Sui, buy some Walrus, buy some Deepbook, buy some. Yeah, I would stay away from Cetus for now. I would continue to accumulate Deepbook over Cetus. And then Suiland and Navi are two okay projects, but Deepbook by far is going to be your best bet in the Sui ecosystem. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about this. This is gold. So a lot of people see this chart. They don't talk about gold. I think this is pretty important though. Gold trickles into Bitcoin, which is currently happening. Bitcoin pumps. Hopefully we break all-time high soon. Then it goes into Ethereum, and then we restart all the way. Well, we go through the large caps, altcoins, blah, 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 blah. All the way into, hopefully, we get the Cetuses and the, I don't know, maybe even the file tokens that start to finally pump. So that's where your high risk, high rewards at, and that can happen within a Bitcoin cycle. So you don't have to wait for the next bear market to buy at bear market lows. We have a lot of projects that are at current bear market lows. I just showed you a couple charts. So getting a little exposure now may set you up for your future. All right. For those that missed it, Hype versus Aster. This is the video I dropped yesterday. And again, don't look at the views. The views are very misleading. I basically, yeah, just trust me on that. The views are very misleading. The education is incredibly good. This is probably the most in-depth I go on any versus video. And I think the results will surprise you. Disclaimer, I'm holding both of these. I think they're both good projects. Next up, we got the 4-year cycles. This is something I still somewhat believe in. So I'm 50-50 right now. And this is how I'm going to market this video. Rux, who lives, learns, breathes, eats, and excretes crypto. I'm 50-50. So somebody that actually like knows the space, knows psychology, knows sentiment, knows data, knows all this stuff is 50-50. But by the end of this video, I'll make a move. I gotta move. I can't sit on the fence forever, right? I have to make a decision. And this video, again, will drop very soon. And I definitely want you guys to all watch it. It's gonna be my longest video, most in-depth. I'll start off, well, I've already started the script explaining what the 4-year cycle is. I'm doing the technical part first. So I talk about all the different technicals that are consistent, that have built the cycle. And then I bring in the fundamentals. I bring in the regulatory considerations. I bring in the institutions. It's a piece of art in the making. So definitely encourage you guys to stay tuned for this video. And then this one may come out before or after, really just depending on if I have time. I mean, I already have the script mostly written. I need to update the data on it, but it's a Uni, Aster, and Sui price predictions. So Sui, Aster, and Uniswap. 3 different projects that got smoked in the previous pullback on October 10th. And I think that these are all solid projects to hold. So this video right here, and usually I don't really give price predictions. And I'll tell you, my Aster price prediction is dope. Like the way that I come across, like it's way different than really any other YouTube channel out there, because I bring up the fee revenue, I bring up the daily volume, I bring up so much stuff that to me makes perfect sense. I'm not just going to open a chart, draw a pattern, tell you this breakout goes to here, and it's going to go to this. I do the work. So I appreciate you guys being here and getting the alpha, because you know. All right. And then also, well, so here's like a quick little plug for the gem hunters. We just talked about three plays that this was on the 17th, so this was a couple days ago. This is coming out of kind of like the most bearish period of recent times. Three tokens that I think are very good at accumulating at these prices. And again, I've talked about Aster a lot, so I'm not going to get into it. I've talked about Kita. This was around that 30-cent mark before the breakdown. These are the ones that I was telling them to accumulate. And then one that you've probably never heard of is SHX. That's Stronghold. Crux, why are you so bullish on Stronghold? Well, there's a guy in our community coming out of the bear market. His name was like WL something. And he kept like spamming Tim in chat every single day to do a price prediction for this token. Anyways, I see him in chat. I'm a moderator. I'm like, hey man, like I'll talk to Tim after. And then Tim was like, all right, just look into the project and talk to him about it. So I researched this thing about 2 years ago. Keep in mind, 2 years ago. First of all, this is if you know about XLM, it's ISO 2022 compliant crypto, very similar to what XRP is. And this right here is like your decentralized exchange platform that is on that network. So this is where you buy and sell, or you swap around for XLM liquidity. I'm pretty sure it's KYC if I'm not mistaken. Now, this is what I see in this chart, right? It's the same thing over and over and over. It's very manipulated. What happens is it pumps up, slowly down and right, and then it breaks into a new high, and then slowly down and right. But the lower low, the lows are higher, and guess what? The highs are higher. So guess what? What happened? It shot way up here. I told the gem hunters wait for it to come back. Comes in, and I'm like, all right, we buy because we're gonna get the higher low here. And guess what? This thing sends quickly. So that's your freebie. That's your boy Crux doing analysis on, hey, different projects in the space. And it's not just fundamentals that I do. That was a technical chart that I just showed you. And if I can find ways to find projects that are gonna break out before they break out and share it, that's what I do. So again, none of this is financial advice. This is just my takes. This is my view on how I find trends and market or monopolize off of them. Monetize. There we go. All right. So let's read any last questions and then we'll go ahead and get up out of here. I've only seen it on Kraken, says Michael. I believe the 4-year cycle is still on. Okay. Yeah, says Carl. So Carl, are you selling your bags? If so, how much of your bags are you selling? I think that's a good question. I would never get upset with somebody selling their bags. I think if you're up, you should be taking profits. That's what smart money does. There's a good there is a notable probability that we go into a 70% pullback on Bitcoin. Alts go much lower. There is a probability that exists that it happens. And by the time this time next year, Bitcoin's sitting at 60K or 50K. There's definitely a probability of that. So you want to set yourself up for at least having some kind of dry powder. My plan is to continue to work hard through the bear market. So whenever we go into what I think the bottom's going to be, I just accumulate. So I'll be accumulating all through the bear market if we go through one. That's my plan. But within the 4-year cycle, I definitely have a plan on selling, and you'll hear that on Friday. Thoughts on Radium? I think it's very undervalued. So Ricky, right now the Solana ecosystem is all right. So the founder of Solana just talked yesterday about a new perp DEX called Percolator. So we're starting to see the perp wars again. I talked about it earlier. Gave the whole evolution, and the evolution was only a couple months old, with Hyperliquid being 11 months old, but the wars have only been around for about 1 month, and Solana has butted their head in. So what does that mean for Aster? What does that mean for Avantis? What does it mean for all these other ones? And including the ecosystem plays, what does it mean for Drift? So I love Drift. I hold Drift. They have perpetual contracts over there on Drift. What does that mean for Drift, which is the Solana play that we have for that? I'll tell you, it's not overall bullish. You have new competitors. But sometimes whenever you release the app for an ecosystem, you bring users over, and then with the users, they migrate. So it's not always just a net negative. but there's competition for Solana, and it's here. So, um, C pool, I haven't looked at C pool in like forever. I would definitely. All right, WOG Jay, I'm gonna do this for you, bro. C pool. Let's check it out. I'm pretty sure this is a DEX built on Chainlink. I don't even know how to C pool. Or was it a scaling solution? Stablecoin payment financing for the stablecoin economy. Maybe they rebranded. T pool. Okay. Let's check out the chart. Okay, this chart ain't bad. We're starting to see a big old head and shoulders pattern right there. And head and shoulders patterns are typically seen as reversible. Hang on, I don't want to mislead you. See, this is my TA lack of knowledge. It's either I'm pretty sure it's a reversal pattern. The head and shoulders is it's a bearish pattern. It's a bearish pattern if you go into a bullish, and then vice versa. If you go into a bearish, head and shoulders should be bullish. If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me in chat if that's wrong. That's a big old head and shoulders pattern. So expect some volatility in the meanwhile. I don't think it's not a play that I hear around often, so I'm not going to ape into it, but that's my quick thoughts on that. I would just stay away from it for now. If it dumps due to the volatility, maybe go ahead and scoop some up. I don't plan on round tripping, says Carl. I don't think anybody, well, people should. This is risk management 101. People should care about round tripping. And I made a video going over it. So I dropped it like 3 months ago, how I turned 150K into 1.3 million in 6 months. Insane. But I also talk about the lessons that I've learned, and I round tripped a lot of those bags. I bought 66,000 Cardano at $2, thinking I was super cool. This thing went from $3.10 down to $2. I'm gonna get that's 33% off, right? And I'm gonna get my money back because Cardano's gonna go to a new all-time high next bull market, right? And these are all things that I brought to your guys' attention that you guys got to learn. You don't want to be in the space thinking if I round trip it, I'm gonna just make my money back. That's not true. So live and learn, take profits, and plan to reinvest if you're going to do so. But I would tell you, I wouldn't sell everything because there's a good case that the 4-year cycle peak is not in. His audio is fine for me, says Crypto AI. Michael says, I was researching wallets last week and considering Alipple, not anymore. Yeah, so I would definitely always do your research on wallets and make sure you don't click any sketchy links. So if you ever have any questions, hashtag crypto in our free Discord community. I will vet it for you. He is bearish, inverse head and shoulders is bearish, inverse head and shoulders is bullish. So head and shoulders is bearish. I just showed you a head and shoulders. All right, thank you, Michael. All right, further, people are dropping off. I got 55 of you in here, and I appreciate every last one of you guys. Tons of content coming out for you guys in the coming days. Tim's actually I'm helping him drop a video for Aster versus Hype on the technical side. So I did the fundamentals. He's going to break it down. Where are we going on the charts? And stay tuned for that one. And then, tomorrow they're going to go live. I'm not going to be dropping a video tomorrow, but Friday, expect either the 4-year cycle video or the targets video, which is the Uniswap, SUI, and Aster price predictions coming from Crux. So, by the way, what GPU do you have in your PC? Yeah, so that GPU back here, that is a RTX 6900 Ultimate edition. It's AMD. Give me a break. It was 2021. The year was 2021. Crypto shot up in price. Crux didn't have a GPU. So what does he do? He buys an AMD product. And this thing, I have a good CPU. I got like the 9050 or whatever CPU. So the CPU is good, the GPU is good, but these things are flailing in comparison to what NVIDIA is capable of doing. So my plan is probably in the next couple months, I'm going to upgrade to a NVIDIA graphics card. So without further ado, appreciate everybody for staying around. Listen to the alpha, and I'll catch you guys Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. Peace.